Hello everybody, welcome back to the Mama Maverick channel, and on this channel we talk about all things cryptocurrencies. And of course today is Friday, which means we're going to be talking about play to earn, some of the play to earn concepts within the cryptocurrency space, because we have to look at a wide range of activities of how this crypto space is evolving. So we try to get our hands dirty in all the technology that's coming up ever since the advent of smart contracts and decentralized autonomous organizations. So if you're into that stuff, guys, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, because it helps me to continue making this research, guys. So before I start, not all of us are above this, and I want to take a moment of silence for the people of Ukraine and what's happening between Ukraine and Russia. So a moment of silence for the soldiers on both sides, and for the civilians, as well. Okay, that was a brief moment of silence for what's going on. It's quite unfortunate. This is not a political channel. I don't want to be political, but if you don't have any siblings or family in Ukraine, then I guess this feels distant from you. But this is something that affects everyone in the world because of the nature of it. It could easily happen to your country. This could easily escalate out of control and lead into something that most of us think can never happen. I don't want to say too many words because I don't want to be flagged by this channel, but this was a tweet by this individual. So basically the address of the president, essentially talking about how he's appealing to the Russian president to kind of cut this off, unprecedented also, and so on. There's so many people. Those of you that know, this was a very good, there's some notable quotes from him. We're talking about peace and about principles, justice, and about everyone's right to define their own future of safety and everyone's right to live without threat. So I think that's important. This is Beeple, one of the most notable artists within the crypto space. He came up with this. Of course, that's the Ukrainian flag, and of course it's Stand with Ukraine. And of course, CZ Binance as well, the CEO of Binance. We contacted all our team members in Ukraine today, ensuring their safety as a first priority. We had overwhelming support from our colleagues in nearby countries offering transportation, logistics, their homes to stay, etc. All safely accounted for. Proud to be a Binancean. I think that's a very good example of what a leader does, especially if you're in a position of influence, financial influence. You can do something to help your people, in this case, people working for his company, to get to safety. And this was my tweet. A lot of things, which was a quote directly from the president, a lot of things are always lacking in war, but what is in abundance is pain, dirt, blood, and death. Thousands and tens of thousands of deaths. So this is not good across the board. And we all know, guys, what's happening in the crypto space right now. So let's get into this. What's happening in the crypto space right now is the way you saw the Bitcoin price. It's kind of similar to what happened with COVID-19 back in March. So we all know, buy the rumor, sell the news. These days, the world works in negatives. This was a tweet by me. Sell the rumors of a war/invasion and buy the news when the bombs land. We all look for opportunities to make money no matter the situation. So guys, this is not an isolated incident specific to countries or individuals. And this was a tweet from me. I'm going to avoid buying any more crypto until further notice. I'm not feeding off this type of energy. This is a personal decision. Of course, I'm leaving things like staking and any other play to earn kind of things. I'm going to let them automatically run themselves. But any purchasing of any new crypto, I think I'm going to hold off for a bit until this whole thing simmers down, because I don't feel like I want to be a part of this kind of money grabbing scheme from a tragedy. I know that's how people make money, but I'm not too sure if I want to participate in that. So what I wanted to show you a little bit, to put things a little bit into perspective, if you were to look at this graph, essentially, basically, if you look at March, the news was announced, the price dropped, and then people were back. So the same thing has happened today. The news was announced, the price went up. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's get back into gaming guilds, guys. Friday, that was yeah, we have to recognize something horrible happening in the world right now. To me, it's not just a political thing. It's a thing where humans have to come together. This could easily affect every single person. All right, guys, let's continue. So, Play to Earn Friday. We want to understand what these things are. What's a gaming guild? A guild is a group of gamers who form a team to compete against others in an MMORPG or massively multiplayer online role-playing game. So most guilds are focused. This continues. So basically, you get the idea. A guild forms. So for example, those of you that have heard of Axie Infinity, was a play to earn game that started in the blockchain ecosystem. So what happens? You have these axes, and then you can rent them out, you can breed them, you can they can fight each other to generate, and they generate tokens which can be cashed out for real money. So this was a whole frenzy that sprouted in the Philippines and other parts of the world, really gained adoption in different parts of the world. So basically, then these scholarships came because the axes, the NFTs you need to battle to compete within this ecosystem, they became so expensive. So they came up with something they called Axie Scholarship. What is an Axie Scholarship? A scholarship is when a manager, a player who has more than enough axes gets a scholar, a player who can afford their own Axie team to play a game for them using their axes. So you want to make a team, but the axes are way too expensive. So you form, I mean, you have them, but other people clearly don't have them. You form a organization called a guild where you get all these players to play on your behalf. So you take a share of your profit, they take a share of the profit for doing that. So basically you're earning passive income. That's essentially at the core what guilds are doing. And essentially what they do is that they look out for other games, because there's the idea of games not having longevity. At least how we know, we don't know how the play to earn games will evolve, but they normally don't, they have cycles. So guilds are not only helping their MO. Okay, their idea is to get people who can afford these NFTs, get them into teams, let them play. The guild earns money, the other people earn money as well, without having to put in that initial investment sometimes, which is impossible to basically get to some people. So crypto VCs are making a big bet on gaming guilds. What this article is saying is basically summarizing how some gaming guilds are formed. So they're tapping into different play to earn games. They look out for a prime play to earn games, and they have big teams. They have some have hundreds, some have thousands of players. So the idea is speculation on these types of organizations that are making the traditional gaming guilds more decentralized, essentially by having cryptocurrencies, removing that intermediator, removing the need to trust, but rather to just verify. So some of these guilds from Axie Infinity, for example, people wanted to rent out their access for people to fight, to use them to play on their behalf. And then what happened? Managers came up to serve as intermediaries for the money exchange. You give the money to a manager, they give to the Axie, the other person, the scholar, and then in turn, so the percentages are split equally. Right now, what's happening? People have automated these processes where you don't need that intermediator actually. So you're purely using the blockchain, the platform itself, and the interaction is a peer-to-peer interaction between the owner of the NFTs and with the owner of the Axies, and with rather in this case other NFT games. They've actually revolutionized that. I don't think Axie Infinity has done that yet, but probably they have it in their roadmap. So of course the article goes on to tell talk about some of the most popular ones, like Yield Guild Games received 22.4 million sometime, Guildify received 6 million sometime, the seeding round. Andreessen Horowitz, some of the players in this, Defiance Capital, Pantera Capital, some notable names over here. So they talk about gaming guilds and how they evolved with Axie Infinity and all that, and why they make sense. It goes back into the game longevity and so like that, and stuff like that. So different companies, some of them have tokens, some of them don't. Some of them have different tokenomics. You know, Axie Infinity has tokens as well, the SLP token, the XX token. So they have a governance token and a utility token. The utility token normally doesn't have a maximum supply because you're hoping that people are going to be playing this game for a long time, which means you want to keep incentivizing them. So essentially, guilds look out for different games, hire teams of different people who can afford their own NFTs, especially if they're expensive, and those people can earn without facing that initial barrier to entry. So I looked up some articles as well that talked about how to enter into these guilds. It's an easy process, and of course the idea, it's about NFTs. This all formed from blockchain, then NFTs, then after NFTs became a thing, then play to earn, and then you have these guilds forming that are realized there was a vacuum, there was a space, there was a need that needed to be filled. So what are the top crypto gaming guilds up to? Different gaming guilds have different ways of running themselves. So we can look at the top gaming guilds and what they're up to. Look at a summary written by this person. So this was written by esports.net. Yield Guild Games is the first one we want to look at just briefly, are by far the largest gaming guild with over $650 million market capitalization. I don't know when this was written, but so you have to take a note. You have to take note of when this was written. Probably it was written sometime last year, but we can check that for a little bit. This was written on the 29th of December last year, exactly, so makes sense. So Yield Games operates as a decentralized autonomous organization, and they put and they plan to bring liquidity to play-to-earn games by opening more opportunities to young gamers. Currently, there are over 4,700 scholars in the Yield Guild game that rent or make a profit by using the guild's assets, and they are getting to play the games and they normally wouldn't be able to afford. So Merit Circle, what about Merit Circle? It's another guild governed by a decentralized autonomous organization. The guild currently does its work with games like Axie Infinity, Star Atlas, Illuvium, and Hush Rush. So each game the guild plays has a sub-DAO or sub-decentralized autonomous organization, which essentially holds the assets to that game. So by using the sub-DAO method, if a certain game gets hacked, other ones are not affected, the others are not affected, and the guild gets to keep their earnings. So Merit has over 1,200 scholars under their program. These are real companies forming, employing real people, earning real money. So the Good Game Guild is not that big compared to the first two mentions, as they only have 300 scholars in their program only. However, they have various partners as well as they own the native token called GGG, which has a maximum supply of 100 million tokens. So how can you join a crypto guild? Here, basically, they're talking about you can go to their Discord channel and ask. Just simply ask. Chances are, if they have a slot, they'll give it to you. And sometimes these guilds also have training programs in case the games are quite complex. They have that you need to have that initial knowledge in order to perform as effectively as possible. There's separate companies also doing that training program, and some of the guilds have a training program for their new scholars. So what is the downside of some of the gaming guilds? Naturally, the problem with having a gaming guild token is kind of obvious, and that it's the fact that it's heavily dependent on the yields generated by the guild. So the popularity of the games played by the guilds and the value of the NFTs can change overnight, which is a bit risky. So the same rules in the cryptocurrency space, how volatile they are, applies to these NFTs and these gaming guilds. Another thing is that it's very risky, and it's a potential downfall of gaming guilds is if crypto gaming fails. So the play-to-earn games are currently on the rise when it comes to the increase in their market value percentage, but we all know how unstable crypto-related things can be. If you are a gamer and you have some spare time to invest in playing crypto games, you might as well join a guild and increase the income from your gaming sessions. However, if you do not have much time or money to toss around, it might be a good idea to see how the crypto gaming market will turn out. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good advice. We've looked at some of the biggest gaming guilds out there. There's yieldguild.io. This is how their website looks like. I've not connected my MetaMask wallet, which means, guys, I'm not doing any investment advice over here. I'm just kind of bringing this information to you. And we have Merit Circle as well. Together we build the metaverse. We're a decentralized autonomous organization on a mission to revolutionize gaming. Let's build the metaverse by empowering people to be a part of it. We have Good Games Guild. It looks like this, embracing the future of the metaverse. If you want to look at some of this, it seems they all seem to be mentioning metaverse and how, guys, whether this is going to work out or not, these are products that have been created by human beings because a certain market is rising, and they have thought about it and realized that they need to bring some of these traditional concepts into the crypto space and make them work. So essentially, we're seeing different ideas like smart contracts, decentralized autonomous organizations, these gaming guilds. We're seeing yield farming, staking, proof of work mechanisms, all these things in a way they're pointing to kind of either a universal basic income or a way to sort of democratize the way we earn money or the way we see jobs. And as a lot of people are scared about AI and machine learning and all those things, we're seeing these kinds of solutions forming because the world has ways of fixing itself as long as humans keep working and they find solutions that do not impede their progress. So we have something like blockchain that does not impede people's progress. People can create things depending on their knowledge base, depending on how much research they're willing to put in. They can create different things that could be leveraged by so many other people. This kind of value cannot be unparalleled by anything else, because we're looking at all the people in the world, this creative collective effort of everyone in the world creating products that are truly going to change the world and truly going to help people rise from the lower echelons to the higher echelons. All right, guys, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.